Hi and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Dan, Chris,
Sean.
Leeless this week, thanks to a dodgy pizza. Or the Mac Expo, we're not sure which one.
Or an assassination attempt.
By him or on him?
On him, I would have guessed.
I was going to say by him. I'm not saying that there's anybody important in the UK at the moment.
This is why Dan's here and we're keeping him well within our sights.
He's suspiciously dressed like the milk tray man on holiday.
Yeah, I was disappointed when all he brought was hobnobs. I was expecting a quality chocolate experience.
Anyway, Formula One.
Formula One. Canadian Grand Prix this week.
Yes, it is.
Finally, we get a chance to see if the engine upgrades that the teams have brought in are actually engine-y, because you can't really use them in Monaco. Not to a great extent.
No. Did anybody take engine upgrades to Monaco?
Ferrari to the customer teams, I think. Did they not?
Yes, Haas and Alfa got the upgrade that Ferrari had put into their cars in Spain.
Okay, yeah, but as you say, you won't get to really see it until Canada. Mm-hmm. It's very strange to do an engine upgrade at Spain anyway. But yeah, well, it's usually the swap out of the engines, isn't it? The whole power unit at
yeah, because it's the seventh race and it's round about the time that everything gets changed. We'll go into a bit more depth in that later on because we've got
we will preview the race.
We have a Canada preview coming up, but there are a few newsy bits as well. Some substantiated, some not.
Most of it unsubstantiated.
For some reason, it's been a quiet week. I think all the teams have got the Monaco hangover.
I don't think it's been a quiet week. I just think it's been one of those weeks where lots of little bits have come out, but there's nothing of any real meat. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing you can say.
Big news
this person definitely said that, and this is what they said about it. So all we have is unsubstantiated rumours.
As if there's a load of sort of F1 media that needs content, but no one's doing any content, so let's
make our own up.
Make some stuff up.
That's what you could call a quiet week, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that went round in a perfect circle. First thing I've got on the list is Vettel to retire? ?
There are lots of question marks on tonight's podcast notes. You'll see.
In fact,
is everyone here
listening.
aware of Betteridge's law of headlines?
I'm aware of Betteridge's car showroom.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Betteridge's car showroom. It's in Foxtel. We drove past it yesterday.
Right. Betteridge's law of headlines is if the headline is a question, the answer's no. So, is Vettel set to retire?
No. According to, and this is where it goes into really dodgy territory, the Daily Express.
The well-known F1 source.
It's barely a newspaper. It's read by people who still wish Princess Diana was still alive, because the Daily Express wished that Princess Diana was still alive. And every 2 weeks during the summer, they always have a headline, Britain set for massive heatwave.
And in the winter, Britain set to freeze.
Yes. Neither of which actually ever happens.
No.
Only on weeks when they don't predict it. So, according to the Daily Express, Sebastian Vettel is set to retire and Fernando Alonso will be taking his seat in Ferrari next year.
Well, it's not just according to the Daily Express, is it? Joe Saywood was the first, I think, to publish the rumour that started circulating around the paddock at Monaco. But yeah, the Daily Express has said that Ferrari are about to tap up Fernando Alonso to replace him.
Lee broke this story months ago.
Yes, he did.
Did he break it, or did he just babble?
No, Lee has also broken...
I suspect all these people are reporting what they've heard on a podcast.
Not just that, Lee has also broken many other stories. I think Lee just gives us a rumour every week in the hopes that one day he'll turn around and go, told you.
He just likes to sit there and say, stopped clock.
Yeah.
Well, the Daily Express quoted a story in Spain's Marca newspaper. Marca. Which unfortunately got taken down. So, is this an official denial?
What does that mean?
Well, let's be honest. Fernando Alonso is going to be really pissed off with McLaren, especially after the Indy 500 failure.
I did say at the time, and he didn't qualify, I think we've seen the last of Alonso
McLarening
in a McLaren of any description.
McLaren, are they going to run an Indy program full time next year?
No, they are going
what's
to.
his face has gone, hasn't he?
Bob Fernley's
yeah.
gone. Yeah, I think the latest rumor that I've read on that is that they are going to attempt the 500 next year, but they're also going to do the Grand Prix of Indianapolis the week before.
Right.
And a couple more races earlier on in the season to get a feel for, how an IndyCar team actually should work.
I was going to say, doing the Grand Prix of Indianapolis as preparation for the Indy 500 is a shit idea.
Yeah, it's
They're
not
not
the
the same at all.
It's in the same place.
But you wouldn't use the same car. You use a different car for ovals that you use for a road course.
I've seen
It's
the-
like playing the French Open to prepare for the French Grand Prix.
I've seen the Race of Champions at Wembley Stadium. I've also seen football matches at Wembley Stadium. These two things aren't necessarily connected.
True. But yeah, apparently McLaren are going to enter more than one Indy race next year.
And they
to
would
get a feel for how the team works. I think it's mainly to actually build a racing team
maybe,
centered around the 500.
but they would
Because-
want Fernando Alonso to drive for them in that particular instance. However, could Fernando jump ship? Not jump ship as such, because he's not tied to the Formula One team at the moment. But could he jump back to Ferrari? It's entirely possible. I think Alonso would do.
Don't forget the drivers have left ambassadorial roles with teams before to go to another F1 team. Michael Schumacher was a Ferrari ambassador for the 2 years after he retired.
Yep.
And then
Signed for Mercedes.
signed for Mercedes and severed all ties.
Yeah. I think Fernando Alonso would be currently doing a better job in that Ferrari than Sebastian Vettel, for example, is doing.
I think you're probably right, and I think Alonso takes less crap from the team and usually tells them what strategies they should be running, and teams tend to listen to him.
Yeah, unless he's being told to save fuel in a McLaren Honda.
Yeah, we'll never see that again. Would it be worth him going back? The problem is, would that rub Charles Leclerc up the wrong way?
Maybe, but is Ferrari's problem at the moment not the fact that Vettel might retire, but the fact that they are currently Ferrari?
Yeah, I don't think Vettel is the biggest problem in the
No.
team.
No.
And another driver won't fix it.
No. The other problem, if Alonso was to go to Ferrari, I don't think they would be particularly amenable about letting him skip Monaco to go to Indy 500. So if that's something he still wants to do, then that might not be the way to go.
Yeah, I think he'd obviously have to give up the whole McLaren thing, or anyone, doing the Indy 500 or anything like that. Just, yeah, I don't see it at the moment, but it's certainly possible.
I mean, he's talking about doing Dakar next year, and isn't Dakar usually around about the same time as pre-season testing? So they're not going to
It's
let
usually
him.
early, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
they're not
quite
going to let
early
him
in the
skip
year.
out on that.
I think what Fernando Alonso wants at the moment is to build a real motorsports legacy, more than you get for being a two-time Formula One world champion.
Yeah.
Now, if he could retire like he has done, then swoop back in and be the guy who won Ferrari's first world championship since Kimi Raikkonen.
Technically, he was the person that won Ferrari Kimi Raikkonen's world championship.
Yes, he was, yeah.
But I think if Ferrari were up for it, and if there were no personality clash, Alonso would dump Dakar to race Formula One for Ferrari.
If he thought there was a realistic chance of him winning.
Don't forget, he's
Sudden
just,
silence.
don't forget, he's just launched his own junior series racing team as well. So
Well,
what-
yeah, the Fernando
the
Alonso
Fernando
racing
Alonso
team.
racing team, which
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing those initials
Yeah.
on timesheets.
Well, he's had a karting academy for a few years now. Some of the elite of his karting academy are ready to move up to take the next set into single seaters. So Fernando's created a Formula Renault team. Did you say that they're like full Euro Cup spec cars?
full Formula Renault Euro Cup.
So that's
yeah.
what 2-litre engines,
Yeah.
F3 style chassis.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of skipping the whole entry level single seater thing for
Formula Ford 1.6 kind of thing.
Yeah, Formula 4 and stuff like that, that you see in various countries. But yeah, straight into like an F3. Yeah, monster essentially from karting. Let's be honest. You're karting in like a 125 or a 250cc kart. Then all of a sudden you're in a 2-litre Formula 3 car. And there are sponsors. I don't know if you spotted on the picture. There are many sponsors. It's not just the Kamoa team.
I was going to say that it's more. There's more to it than hats.
Yeah.
Buy hats. They go on your head.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this is Fernando sort of making his early moves into team management. As I don't think he'll ever go away. He'll be much of the ilk of kind of like, I don't know, we've just lost him. Niki Lauda, always around the sport in one way or another.
Alain Prost.
Alain Prost turns up when Renault were there. Somebody like that, somebody who's always around the sport. I don't think he'd be one of these drivers who just sort of fades away into obscurity and you see him like maybe once every couple of years. He'll be there.
You could just see it out in sort of 30, 40 years' time. He'll still be turning up at Grand Prix and he'll be doing the Jackie Stewart thing, but where Jackie Stewart always wears tartan, Fernando will turn up in a suit made entirely of baseball caps.
Maybe, who knows? But yeah, Jackie Stewart's another one. He's always around races, isn't he?
With an opinion to share, usually.
Yeah, usually, yeah. Alonso will be that type of ex-driver, I think.
With an opinion to share.
Yeah. Well, even Jackie Stewart managed his own team, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah.
So
I thought he was more of a figurehead. 'Cause it was his son Paul that was actually he was actually running the operation, and Jackie Stewart was. They didn't use the term honorary team principal, but he was.
Yeah.
Because Paul Stewart Racing's been around. I think that was around for a good 10 years before Stewart F1.
Right.
And I think it was just attaching Jackie Stewart's name to the organisation.
And it was a joint venture with Ford as well.
Yeah.
That is worth pointing out.
Yeah, but attaching Jackie Stewart's name to the organisation was the thing that actually got them into F1. Pretty successfully, really. And
Considering, yeah.
And after what they've turned into,
Jaguar, Red Bull.
they're now Red Bull.
Did all right, didn't they?
Yeah, it did very well.
Not too shabby. Next thing we've got is the Renault qualifying car
For 2020.
for 2020.
Now, when I first read this, I thought they were building a separate car. Like, what? Hang on a second. That's not the rules. You can't do that. You can't build a car to run on Saturday and then race a totally different car on Sunday. But that's not what's happening.
No, so Cyril Abiteboul has said that basically qualifying is all that matters, so let's just build a car that's shit hot for one lap so that we can be as high up the grid as possible, rather than trying to make up places in the race.
This seems foolish to let this slip so early before 2020.
And also to hire one of the sport's best overtakers.
Yes.
And here's a car, block people.
Yeah.
Also, what if they get it wrong? What if they're still behind Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, and any other team on the grid? So they might find themselves in a Q3 shootout with a car that they've specifically designed for qualifying. Do you know what I mean? That Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull are so far ahead of the rest of the teams that it's not at the moment, with the rules staying the same, it's not attainable for any team to sort of join that pack.
I think this is a case of Renault just wanting to have the best Renault engine car on the grid. Oh, hang on, they are.
They haven't. Not yet. They don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand why Cyril Abiteboul would say that, because if it was genuinely a good idea, he would keep quiet about it.
Yeah, is he trying to goad someone else into doing the same or
Well,
something?
like the Strolls have got to turn around and go,
oh, it's a really good
that's
idea.
a really
Let's do
good
that."
idea. Let's build let's build our Racing Point to do that next year, so that they.
I don't think anyone's falling for it if
No.
that's the plan.
I think this is a continuation from last season. He's just said it to troll Christian Horner.
Maybe.
He is a mumbler as well, isn't he, Abiteboul? Do we think he might have just been misheard?
I don't know. They've taught him how to use a microphone this season because every time you hear him on TV, you can actually make out separate words. Run.
Yeah, media training I think he's had for English speakers
Yeah.
rather than just.
I've actually heard some of the comments in French that he's done for Canal Plus. They have taught him how to use a microphone because he was just as bad when he was talking French.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he was. I think the best way to describe it is deep throat.
Oh,
Yeah, I think somebody sat in and said, the microphone in front of the teeth.
yeah.
Sounds like a creaking door.
Yeah. Or Sideshow Bob when he
I
stands
was
on a
thinking
rake.
of Sideshow Bob.
What do we got next? Grand Prix of South Africa. Those rumours will not go away. They are coming back quite strongly again.
Yeah, so we talked about this a bit last week because Kyalami has said it wants to come back.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, Red Bull have turned up there. Not at Kyalami, but South Africa generally.
One of their demonstration runs, a.k.a. David Coulthard doing donuts.
Would it be beneficial to Red Bull or a Red Bull sponsor, perhaps even Red Bull themselves, to have a Grand Prix in South Africa? Is it a market perhaps that they want to tap up? Is it a rumour they started, like the Dutch Grand Prix, and then took their car there and went, look, everybody, don't you want Formula One here? and until the rumours circulate so much that F1 can't ignore it and starts talking to people.
Could be.
I'm just going to have a look on the Red Bull Young Drivers website and see if they've got a South
I
African
don't
driver that they
believe
rate
they
as shit
do.
hot.
I think they're.
They haven't got any
they've
young drivers,
got-
have they?
They've got a couple of Aussies. They've got a Norwegian guy. I think they've got a couple of other from the Nordic neck of the woods, and I think they've got an American. Oh, and they've got Pato O'Ward, obviously.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Pato O'Ward has been told not to do any more oval races
Oh, has he?
for the rest of the season.
Oh,
Was
interesting.
that what?
I've not
yes,
heard
I've left that off the list, but it's
Yeah.
worth pointing out. Pato O'Ward, the Mexican,
Mexican?
Irish,
Not Irish.
Mexican. But his name's Pato O'Ward.
I know. Patrizio.
Okay.
I worked with an Indian gentleman whose first name was O'Neill because that name had been given to him by his Indian parents because they'd visited Ireland once and loved Ireland that much they wanted their son to have an Irish name.
Okay.
It's just they gave him an Irish surname.
There are a lot
Wow.
of South Americans with Scottish surnames. Because I think it was during the Second World War, a lot of Scots were posted to South America and they just stayed there.
I'm on the Red Bull Young list of Red Bull Young drivers at the moment, and they don't have a South African.
No.
But
No, what I mean
but
is
for the last few years, they've been popping over to Hanoi, and there's no Vietnamese on.
no,
yeah,
exactly.
it's
yeah.
it's more the market probably rather
It
than
does
This is
seem
what
to
I mean.
me
driver
Red
from
Bull
there,
go
yeah.
to a place
and a
and suddenly
race
there's a Grand
happens.
Prix there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they want people in that country to drink Red
buy
Bull.
their Red Bull.
It's to do with global domination, nothing to do with Formula One. It's Red Bull spreading the word.
Yeah, any South African listeners, can you tell us what the biggest local energy drink brand is over there? Because we haven't got a clue. And just see if it's something that we can see if it's something that Red Bull need to try and.
Probably is Red Bull.
It probably is, to be fair, but there could be more. There could be more Red Bull.
Yes.
I mean, don't forget we're meant to drink Monster over here at the moment because it's the TT race is fueled by Monster Energy.
Advertising doesn't work on me, says the man who might have bought Monster coffee.
The Monster coffee is all right, actually.
I don't mind Monster. Monster's all right. I prefer it to Red Bull.
Prefer the Valentino Rossi one to the Lewis Hamilton one, but we've done the taste test
We
before.
have. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton Monster tastes like shit.
There goes the sponsorship.
Oh, here's the thing. Did they not launch a Mexican, like, Day of the Dead style Monster for, like, last year?
Yes.
And now Red
Mango
Bull...
Loco.
Yes, and now
Yeah, it's
Red
good.
Bull have acquired a Mexican.
Oh.
I wonder if they're concerned that Monster are edging in to the Mexican market.
You might be onto
So
something here.
they've acquired a Pato Award, and he's gonna
So
get
why
the
is
Mexican market.
Yeah. So why has Pato O'Ward been told to miss oval races?
Because he didn't qualify for Indy, had a crash in practice, and at one point was slower than Max Chilton.
So he's shit, basically, is what you're trying to say.
He is
ovals.
good on the roads, to be fair. And he car shares with Charlie Kimball, doesn't he? Who did quite well
Yeah.
in Indy, so that's probably a better
Right,
idea
so
anyway for them.
oval driver.
Yeah, make the oval
Road
driver do
driver.
the ovals.
Yeah, but much like they do with the cars in Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Road car, oval car.
because he was qualifying in a road car, wasn't he, Pat O'Ward?
Yeah, 'cause he wiped his-
destroyed his
He wiped his oval car.
Ah, okay.
In fact, he was qualifying in Max Chilton's
Yes,
road
he
car.
was.
Now I'm really confused.
I still think we will see him in Formula One within the next few years.
Maybe. Especially if he excels at road courses.
Yeah, but will we see him in the South African Grand Prix? See what I did there, getting him back on topic.
Last South African Grand Prix, Kyle Army 93, was it?
It was 92 or 93.
Yeah.
Mansell won it.
Was it? That
Must
would
have
have
been
been 92, but I'm pretty sure they went there for the opening round of the 93 season was in Kyle Army.
I'm using the normal left-handed Googling computer to record on tonight, so I'm not as quick.
Well,
I
Dan's
did
already
look this
picked
up
his-
last week when we were talking about it.
Yeah,
I've
we talked
completely
about it last
forgotten
week
the
and
answer.
then didn't
I
talk
do
about it
remember
anyway.
from looking it up, though, they have some really cool runoff area patterns.
Oh, right,
You know,
okay.
sort of not quite like Paul Ricard, but similar, lots of colours.
Yeah.
So yeah, is this going to be another one where Red Bull turn up to start doing demonstration runs, and all of a sudden Formula One go, oh, actually people do like Formula One. Let's put a race there.
Yeah. As I say, it's Red Bull pushing the market, isn't it?
There
Hey,
isn't-
we've got a Dutch driver. Let's do lots of demos in Holland. Ooh, look, there's a racetrack here, right on the beach. Formula One pedigree here. Let's send Max round on a demo run. Ooh, would you love Formula One to be back here? Oh, look, it's back next year. Look at that.
I'll tell you what, though, from looking at what Kyle Army's like at the moment, they're going to have to build a hell of a lot more grandstands. I think from what you could see on the onboards, it seats about 50 people.
Also, just on a slight weird tangent.
Us?
Yeah, there's something like 13 official languages in South Africa. One of the major languages in South Africa, Afrikaans, which is fairly close to Dutch.
Yes.
Just saying.
Somebody wants to send us a tweet with the Afrikaans word for conspiracy. I'm assuming it's the same, just spelt with a K.
And an IE at the end, probably.
Yeah, there'll be a double A in there somewhere. And that's another listener base we've just lost. You look like you've just Googled something, Dan.
I do, yes.
Oh.
Alan Prost won the 1993 Kyle Army Grand Prix
Ah. Got that
with
completely
Senna
wrong.
in second and Mark Blundell in third.
What a trio.
Blimey.
I seem to remember Damon Hill getting hit early stages and spinning round.
Mark Blundell, who is now having a new one torn in British touring cars because every other driver on the grid says he's too old and bloody useless.
Oh dear.
Apparently he's not finished a race yet, or he's not spent a whole race going the same direction.
Old and useless.
He's getting overtaken by his back end quite a bit. We'll move on.
He's not that old, is he?
He can't be older than Jason Plato.
No, Mark Blundell's, but he must be in his 60s.
I think he is. Or he's
okay.
very close to 60, but he's had a long break from any form of
Yeah, I
racing.
suppose, yeah.
So I think lost his edge, we'll say, to be polite.
Yeah.
So Porsche then wanted to get in in 2021. Developed
According to Gerhard Berger.
Well, there is...
Didn't see that. Bit.
Yeah, that's whether he was the one who I think initially was like, yes, Porsche coming with an engine.
And they've built one, or they built a model of one, which worked on all the computer models and everything that they can make it show. This story was often reported with a image of like a 3D Porsche car, make it look like that Porsche might enter as a manufacturer. Sole manufacturer, I would imagine. I wouldn't imagine they'd just be like, yes, here we are, we're a sole manufacturer, new to the sport, and also everyone have our engines. I don't know what to think of it, to be honest with you. I think the 4 that are in are kind of locked in at the moment, and it's such a tight-knit club that it took Honda 4 years to sort the shit out to get to the point where they are.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about 2021 was getting more engine manufacturers in, because Aston Martin and Ford, Porsche, and
VW were in there. I think,
VW were in there at one point, possibly even Chevrolet.
Cosworth came out of the woodwork from somewhere.
Yeah.
Cosworth attended the consultation meeting. There was a consultation meeting, wasn't there, about the 2021 regulations, and Cosworth attended. Cosworth actually built a power unit for the 2014 rule changes, but decided that it was too expensive for them to produce power units for Formula One cars. That's why they pulled out. They built one that they said it was too expensive for us to produce this many over a season.
But I think the main thing that was attracting Porsche to coming back to F1, or certainly supplying engines for F1, was that the MGUH wasn't going to be part of the 2021 regulations, which of course now it is.
Yeah.
So that made them
I think that
change.
was the big thing attracting all of the people who were thinking about coming in, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that is far and away the most expensive part of certainly the development, is making an efficient MGUH. And
They were looking at standardising it, weren't they? Did they decide
no,
not to?
it was getting rid of the MGUH and a standardised MGUK.
Right.
Oh,
But,
that was what it was at one point, because everything about 2021 has changed more than once since these rules were first discussed 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it was going to be 8 cylinders, still hybrids at one point.
I have to agree with Lee. I think it's not going to happen in 2021.
Isn't there meant to be an announcement next week? Were we talking about earlier?
Yeah, I think you said there was something.
No, you told me.
Oh.
I didn't tell you.
Oh, I thought no, you told me. There's meant to be an announcement. It's sometime in the next week or two that the 2021 or the first draft of the 2021 regulations will be published.
Yes, this was in Automoto und Sport.
We trust them.
Yes, saying next week, I think.
Yeah.
So watch out for jump cuts next Tuesday.
Yes.
Guaranteed to happen. And yeah, I mean the last thing was, as far as the regulation or the power regulations go, nothing's changing. Which is why we'll still end up with the same 4 engine manufacturers.
Yeah.
Because there's no incentive for any of the new ones that F1 were talking to come in, because they'll have to spend an absolute fortune developing technologies that they don't have at the moment, that the other teams do, just to play catch up. And with using Honda as an example of a team that came in 1 year late.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, a lot of that will come down to the McLaren factor. Well, a lot of that will come down to Ron Dennis.
A lot of that will come down to McLaren. Yeah, I think you're right the first time.
And it just didn't, it's taken until now for Honda, really.
Yeah.
So that's gonna put off a lot of the other manufacturers.
It has to be simplified.
Yeah, and Formula E appears to be an easier way to get a motorsport presence, get a global motorsport presence.
Do you know why? Because it's simple.
Yeah.
The rules are simple, and Formula E does have, even though it's it has its faults, but it has some close racing, which you don't.
Faults? Fan boost.
Yeah. Oh yeah, majorly. But you do get close racing in Formula E. I haven't watched an awful lot of Formula E races over the last couple of years, but the ones I have watched, there's a little bit of maybe they've got something going on there, but
the quality of the racing has improved massively.
Yeah.
I'd like to say the same about the quality of the circuits, but long run from the start, down somewhere narrow, into a hairpin. Every track.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen if you have all city centre circuits.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do.
I don't know, they had this at the airport as well, though, didn't they? Where they could have pretty much mapped a circuit wherever they fancied.
Yeah, they had the entire apron and former runways at Tempelhof Airport in Berlin. They still put a narrow hairpin on there. I think it's in the rules that there has to be a hairpin on the circuit somewhere. That's not a joke. That is actually, I think that is something that has to be set.
Right.
Because I think they're designing it so that you can see, well, crashes.
Yeah, because crashes make people watch. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Unfortunately, and even if it's a low-speed crash without putting a driver in danger, it's still a crash, and people will still watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've really got my cynical marketing ploy head on tonight, haven't I? Well, Lee's not here. Someone's got to do it. But yeah, Chris, I'm definitely with you that I don't think we'll see a new engine manufacturer in Formula One until whatever comes after 2021, which could be...
I want to see what Ross Brawn comes up with first, but yeah, it's going to be years, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be under the 2021 regulations. I think we'll be looking at 2026
Yeah,
before we see... We may get one leave.
I think it's entirely feasible that 2026 would be the actual next real formula change, because as I said just now, the 4 that are in there, it's like a secret little club, and if they say no to something, then what are Formula One going to do about it? Unless Ross Brawn's a lot more hard nosed than he's letting on.
Well, he should be. Didn't you say about Ferrari's veto earlier?
Dan, I think, said
Was it
about
Dan?
the veto.
Somebody said it.
Yes. Ferrari have vetoed the Liberty's plan to take away Ferrari's veto.
So much irony.
That's like turkeys voting for Turkey.
Yeah.
So yes, the Ferrari veto is still going to be a thing in the 2021 regulations.
You physically can't remove it, can you? Because they can always veto anything.
The only way that I could see it getting passed is...
If they missed the memo.
Yeah, or they just word it in such a way with 17 octuple negatives and an extra one just to make sure, so that when they say we reject this, it comes out that they've
Actually approved
it.
No, I don't think they used their veto to veto the veto. I think they just said, if it wasn't in there, we're not going to stay in Formula One.
Oh, you've got to love the Ferrari foot stamp. Actually, no, you don't. I'm bored of it now.
Ferrari foot stamping.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Yeah. Give them one last concession and that's it.
No, not even give them one last concession.
No, the concession is they can carry on having red cars now. Shut the fuck up.
Well,
We're inviting Lamborghini to join, and they'll get a veto as well.
Now that would be interesting.
surely if anyone should have a veto, Alfa Romeo, the very first champions of Formula One, should have a veto.
Yes, but they're not really Alfa Romeo, are they?
Well, they offered it.
They're the Sauber team who had their first race at Kyalami in 1993.
They did, actually. But,
You did do some
Very good.
spectacular Googling.
Good Wikipedia page for the circuit
Well,
of Kyalami, then.
I think Alfa Romeo were offered a veto, but Ferrari vetoed the offer. Shall we preview Canada instead?
we can give it a go.
Yeah.
Because the next thing on here says Mercedes engine upgrade.
Allegedly.
Which they are bringing to Canada.
Yeah, just to rub a little bit of salt in Ferrari's wounds, some pundits thinking that Canada might suit Ferrari a little bit better than Mercedes. Then Binotto turns up and says, actually, we're not expecting to bring an awful lot of upgrades for the next couple of races because, well, we don't think they'll work.
You've been too busy schmoozing at the MotoGP this weekend as well.
Binotto.
Yeah, he turned up there.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Maybe he's looking for a job.
Well, Ducati are mission win now as well, but they are actually
yeah.
winning now. So.
Yes, they are. But the is it ever since Ferrari took that on board that Kimi won a race, and that was it.
I think so, yes. Kimi has won now. End of win now.
So hang on. Kimi won a world championship for Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ferrari stopped winning world championships.
Kimi won
a race for Ferrari.
and then left.
Ferrari stopped winning races.
Yeah.
Ferrari haven't released another book of haiku since Kimi's either.
This is where they've gone wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, Ferrari saying they're not bringing any changes. A lot of pundits thinking that Ferrari possibly could have had a slight upper hand at Canada, and then Mercedes turn around and go, all that power we lost when we when you changed the rules ever so slightly. Well, we've found a way of getting it back. So we're going to have roughly an extra 20 horsepower, looking like it'll take us over the 1,000 horsepower threshold again. So, yeah. 20 horsepower is not a lot, is it? Let's be honest. It's
Not
but
when
if you've got the option of having an extra 20, you'd have an extra 20. Surely.
yeah. It was like a 250cc motorcycles. A standard Rogo one's probably about 20 horsepower.
Something like that, yeah.
those 250s can shift a little bit.
Yeah.
Although when you've already got 980 behind you to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's law of diminishing returns. I mean, what Ferrari are saying is that they don't think that they can bring an upgrade on quick enough to give them the extra downforce that they need to actually get the tyres working.
It's this harks back to the whole philosophy thing, doesn't it? You remember Alfa and Ferrari went with that strange front wing philosophy, and we all thought, "What have they done? They're the only teams who have done this sort of." When we had Scarbs on a few weeks ago as well,
Yeah.
talking about the pushing the air around the car a certain way, and the secret designer who does the BBC column, he stated early season, it looks like Ferrari have boxed themselves in to a philosophy that if it doesn't work, they can't really bring many upgrades unless they change the whole aero philosophy of the car. And they can't do that
That
now.
looks like that's the position they've got themselves in. Because their main problem is getting heat into the tyres.
Yeah.
And alright, they've got the straight line speed advantage. But it doesn't matter what temperature your tyres are when you're going in a straight line. You need them warmer when you go into the corners because that's what gives you more grip so you can take the corners faster.
Yes.
So you go really, really quick, and then you just have to brake even more for the corner. And
also, we've seen what happens when Ferrari are being told that they've got an upper hand at a race. They tend to just forget about that and throw it away anyway.
yeah, are we taking bets on how the Ferrari strategy team are going to absolutely screw things up this weekend?
I don't know that the Ferrari strategy team will screw things up. Just Ferrari in general.
They'll find a way, won't they? As a team, collectively.
Yeah.
Well, you only notice it if they've got a chance of winning.
You thinking they might just not bother trying to win?
Could we be seeing Mercedes going up against, well, I would say Red Bull, but Max Verstappen this weekend?
I don't think Honda has got the power to put Max Verstappen near to the Mercedes.
Probably not.
I think this could be a boring Canada.
We need rain.
We need rain, and we need Ferrari to be playing mind games by saying, "Oh no, we don't think we'll get very much."
Sandbagging.
Sandbagging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one for Ferrari, especially with the tyre problems. Obviously, that means it's gonna be a tricky one for Haas as well because they're getting the same issues. Because
I wonder why.
because they share a mindset.
Haas, I think, have been a little bit better on the tyres the last couple of races, though, have they not? They brought upgrades in Spain, which seem to help.
Some of the upgrades worked, but when Grosjean and K-Mag decided to have their little thing, all the upgrades fell off.
Well, yes.
They look good on the side of the track. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, Canada is an out-and-out power circuit, and heavy on the brakes as well.
Yeah.
So I can see Ferrari struggling. I can see Haas struggling. I think we're going to get a good performance out of Toro Rosso this week.
Even though they're Honda powered?
even though they're Honda powered.
I mean, I don't think Honda's that far behind, in all honesty. I think they're probably, even power-wise, probably slightly ahead of Renault. I think you will see both the Renault teams struggling. McLaren and, of course, Renault. Purely because of the power deficit. I mean, Canada isn't it like the second most throttle-heavy circuit on the calendar.
I think it is. Obviously, Monza is the heaviest.
You're at full throttle at Monza for like 80% of the lap, aren't you, or something?
Yeah.
Canada's something like 70%.
I think Canada and Spa are pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close to each other. I'm not sure which one is more, but it's still a hell of a lot.
Yeah. So reliability and sheer power are going to play a part, which is why I can see that Ferrari are, maybe breathing a little easier going into this one. But having said that, for the reasons I've just outlined, I can't see anything more than, Mercedes.
Does this
Not dominating, but just
being comfortable?
Turning the screw a little.
Does this importantly show what we think of Ferrari these days, where what we're calling what they're saying mind games very late on in the conversation? 3 or 4 years ago, it would have been, Ferrari are coming out with the mind games already. Now it's Ferrari are basically screwing themselves over that badly that we don't even think that there's mind games going on until quite a way into talking about it. That is the most un-Ferrari thinking ever.
Unless Binotto is a very un-Italian Italian and is just taking things very slowly, making sure he literally understands every little thing about the car and the team before they go into next season. He may well have said to to his bosses, look, nothing this year. We had nothing last year. There's going to be nothing this year. I know that because of the many years I spent in Formula One. So don't expect anything in 2019. Give me a year to look at everything, and I'll give you results in 2020.
I mean, this car at the moment would have been designed under the Marchione Arriva Bene watch anyway.
Yeah,
but Binotto was technical director, wasn't he?
So he would have had a big
should still
say
have
in
quite
it,
a good idea of how the car works.
So, as team boss, do we actually think he went in and said, right, I'm not sure how good a job the old technical director did. Give me a year.
Maybe not, but
The Dilbert principled him.
But as technical director, you don't have to know everything about every little part of the team. As team principal, you probably should.
This is just the warning that the ferry has just come in behind us, so we are now going to get half an hour of very low frequency bike noises as they all drive off.
Yeah, and as we were discussing earlier, burnouts.
Yeah, if some of them get bored and stuck in traffic, they will start revving.
We hope they all enjoy their time on the Isle of Man.
Yes.
And we won't slag them off too much.
No.
So, where were we? Ferrariing.
Yeah, I hope they don't, but...
Was that the missing verse from the 12 Days of Christmas?
13 Ferraris Ferrariing.
Yeah. It was meant to be 8, but they were running a little slow.
Charles Leclerc. Oh, God, we've got to rewrite the 12 Days of Christmas for Ferrari now, haven't we?
Oh, God.
It's all right, you've got like 6 months to think about it.
Yeah.
Who else do we see getting something out of this weekend? Because, I mean, obviously, like you say, Mercedes, it's a given. They will be
strong.
They will be strong. Williams, apparently, according to Claire Williams, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, which says...
does that mean they're just about to come through the tunnel on lap 1 in Monaco?
Or the wind tunnel's on fire.
There is that. Light at the end of the tunnel, how? Did she elaborate on that?
Of course not.
No.
I think with Williams, until we start seeing results on track, I wouldn't believe that sort of PR.
I think Williams are... I think that's bag sanding, and we are going to see Williams so far off the pace in Canada. Strange, because they got the Mercedes power unit, but...
I don't think the Mercedes power unit is making as much of a difference as it used to.
No.
Because Racing Point have been off the money sort of in
Yeah.
the last couple
Yeah.
of races. They might do quite well here.
I mean, Lance Stroll's got his home crowd.
Yeah, they're gonna have. I imagine they'll be bringing updates for this one because they will want to go well in front of a Canadian.
Yeah, I'm gonna read you the Autosport headline about Williams,
Oh, good.
and I'm gonna see if you think the same as me. The Williams Formula One team believes a mid-season update package will decide whether its change of philosophy for its 2019 car was the correct decision.
I mean, firstly, not a headline.
Yeah, very, very, very much opening paragraph.
Yeah, that's a lot of information
Yeah.
in.
So basically, they're bringing an update in that may or may not work, and if it does work, may or may not be the right thing.
Good plan.
And they're trying to decide if their 2019 philosophy was correct, bearing in mind that the 2019 car is slower than the 2018.
I'm going to go with no. Would be my money on that
Ye-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good point. We always, whenever we predict or we bet, we always try and guess, don't we? Who's going to win? Who's going to score points? Who's getting a surprise podium? But
Usually no one.
yeah, usually nobody. But I wonder if you get. What odds you'd get on being like one of the Williams finishing last?
I think you could bet on it, and it would be one of the first bets in history where if you were right, you'd lose money as well. The odds are that low, it's not even worth it.
Yeah,
They
probably.
did not finish last in Monaco.
Monaco's always an anomaly.
George
I know,
Russell finished
I know.
15th.
He did.
Mm.
Genuine 15th out of 19, was it, finishes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was only Charles Leclerc that didn't finish, so...
Gutted. Home racing he didn't finish.
It can happen, but...
Talking of Williams, though, Robert Kubica's got good memories and bad memories
Yeah.
at Canada.
Yeah.
Mixed bag, I think,
Yeah.
for him, Canada.
Yeah, totals the car in a wall one year, comes back and wins it the following year.
Sauber's only ever win.
Yeah. Could we see Robert Kubica doing something similar this year, either totaling the car or coming back and getting a good result?
I think one is more likely than the other.
I didn't say coming back and getting a win, I just said a good result, which could be 17th.
Okay.
Maybe. Unlikely.
Yeah, I think a wipeout would be more likely.
But I'll go back to saying I think we're going to see good things from Toro Rosso because they've got a nice sort of tidy car this year, and I think it's going to be quick in a straight line.
And Albon and Kvyat do tend to, and I don't mean this literally, but they push each other quite a bit. Albon has a good race.
In the right way.
Yeah, Albon has a good race. Kvyat has a good race. The next race, they're
Sometimes Kvyat's pushing Gasly as well.
yeah, and Albon, they're fairly evenly matched as teammates, which is great for Alex Albon because this is only his first season. Danny Kvyat's obviously the experienced one in the team, but the dynamic they've got at Toro Rosso works for them at the moment, driver-wise anyway. And that could see them picking up a whole load of points as the season goes on, where other teams start squabbling, infighting. That connection that they've got could see them going further up the order.
Yeah.
I think we could see a reasonable looking performance from the Racing Points, but mainly because we've
Canada.
said that. No, not even that. We've said that the Renaults are unlikely to do well.
No, the McLaren I don't think will.
That's like the Renault engine cars.
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo are nowhere at the moment and probably not going to bring improvements. Haas are saying that they've found ways that they've potentially solved their tyre problems. So
And Williams are still at the back.
Williams are still at the back.
So that leaves Racing Point.
So
Yeah, by
Racing
default,
Point
they
might
should be.
accidentally fall to the front.
might accidentally fall to the front. I like
Least shit.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, least shit of the rest. I mean, the battle in this one is going to be for who is the fourth best team.
Yeah.
If you say that, you think that the Honda engine doesn't have the power to get Red Bull up there. then
Could it be a third best team then?
No,
I don't think so.
Red Bull are
They've
they're
got
pretty
more
strong in that position.
more of a package.
They have a better chance of fighting for second than they do of slipping down to fourth.
Unless you're Pierre Gasly.
Verstappen has a better point of bringing Red Bull up to the second best team.
He's still learning the car, apparently.
Oh, right, okay.
Still learning the car, really?
This
Is that
pedal
why they've
goes, this pedal stops. Get out there.
Yeah. Is that why they've asked Hulkenberg if he wants to join the team?
Now
Allegedly.
that has been officially denied. So
It's nonsense, apparently.
I don't think they get Hulkenberg in from outside, because I don't remember the last time any Red Bull team did that. When was the last time a Red Bull driver came to Red Bull that wasn't part of Red Bull?
Sebastian Bourdais,
Oof. What a successful move that was.
because he wasn't affiliated with Red Bull when he was in IndyCar the first time.
And he went to Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to go for David Coulthard.
He was.
He was.
Oh, no, it was Webber who joined Coulthard, wasn't it?
Webber joined Coulthard. It was Coulthard and Clean, wasn't
Yeah.
it, for a while at Red Bull?
Mm. I think when when Coulthard drove a Red Bull,
He finished 8th a lot.
that was in their first season, and I think he'd already signed for Jaguar when Red Bull bought Jaguar, so he came as part of the furniture. And Christian Klein, Red Bull had been he was the first driver they sponsored in F1.
Right.
So he was the original young driver program, because they
I think the first Red Bull young driver was Patrick Friesacker.
Oh, Friesacker.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is a name. Wasn't he?
His only points came in the infamous 2005 America six-car job.
Was he was the other Jordan, wasn't
Yeah.
he? That wasn't Tiago Montero.
That sounds about right, yeah. Yes, I think he would have been.
Bloody hell!
But
So,
yeah,
yeah,
he was the first member of that.
But
meat
yeah,
grinder.
Red Bull don't take outside drivers. So we in all the time that they've been in F1.
We've just mentioned 3 people you don't hear about anymore.
Yeah. Well, you don't hear about in F1. But that Bourdais not. He's not shit.
No, but he was in Formula One.
Yeah, true. Then again, so was Alex Zanardi.
Zanardi had good moments. He was just in a shit
bad
car.
cars.
Yeah.
So should we do some predictions for Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do. You've already got Lee's.
I have some sent through. I will get Lee's here, which are Alonso. No, Hamilton, Bottas, and Vettel, with
Bold prediction.
Charles Leclerc in the Wall of Champions.
Interesting.
I'm going to go the other way round.
I'm going to ask somebody to pass me a pen so I can make a note of everybody's in this room.
Bruno's favourite pen.
Oh, great. With the company that Chris works for on it.
Yes.
So we know who brought that one round.
Probably dropped it. I'm going to go Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc with Vettel in the Wall of Champions.
I'm going to go Bottas, Hamilton, Leclerc.
Any Wall of Champions predictions?
Pierre Gasly, go on, be brave.
I'm not going to predict that.
I will go for Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen. And for the Wall of Champions, I think I will go for Raikkonen
He's been
as an actual champion.
If I have to pick a Wall of Champions person, I'll go for Verstappen.
And I'm going to go for Hamilton, Bottas, Vettel. And Stroll in the Wall of Champions. I reckon.
I'm sure he'll have a different wall.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have an event at some point. won't he?
Daddy, buy me my own. And we do have a guest predictor this week, and it's another of our long-time listeners. This one is Jana Rubanski, who complained at the weekend that the IndyCar coverage was making that particular bit of Detroit look prettier than it was.
Did I see somebody complaining that there was no commentary for IndyCar as well?
Only during the American ad breaks. They're not doing what BT did. And Sky also didn't show the qualifying on Saturday. They pressed the button to start it at the wrong time, and they showed some
Basketball.
bits of the track with no commentary on them. A couple of IndyCar's equivalent of the Porsche Super Cup doing their
Nice.
qualifying session. And then after about 5 minutes of that, they showed the Nico and Keke Rosberg driving around Monaco again.
Oh, God.
Jana's predictions. She says Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, although her heart says Leclerc, Vettel, Ricciardo. But her official ones is Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen.
Well,
I think Jana's head is smarter than her heart.
I don't think it's impossible that both Ferrari drivers and both Mercedes drivers will at some point come together this season. Not
Yeah.
all four of them together, but
That would be one hell of a
Yeah.
crash.
that'd be a good
Leclerc and Vettel will ruin each other's race at some point, and I believe Bottas and Hamilton will do the same.
I mean, the last time there were two Mercedes drivers fighting for the same championship, look what happened in Spain.
Yeah,
And
and that was as you well know, early doors that year.
and then look what happened in Austria.
Yeah,
So it can happen. Ferrari are doing everything they can to keep the drivers apart, which is including forgetting to pit one of them for an extra 20 laps.
one of them. You mean
Making
Charles
one of them
Leclerc?
starting
Yeah.
15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's,
Stay
it's
in the
always
garage.
the same one.
Yeah, I mean, the number of tweets that came out on the Saturday afternoon after qualifying, well, at least they won't be fighting for the same bit of track now. One way to separate them. So we will see how things go. If you want to do your own predictions, then go onto our website, 3legs4wheels.com, and go to the games section and have a look at... What are you doing with your mic stand?
It won't stay. It just pinged itself up, and now.
I thought you were playing basketball with it. You kept pushing it down.
Well, I'm pushing it down because it won't stay down. Wants me to stand up, clearly.
So anyway, you go to the website, 3legs4wheels.com, go to the games section, and the prediction league's on there. Log in with social media, put your top three, and poll who you think will get pole, and who you think will get the fastest lap. We will find out on Sunday. We will be live blogging the race on Sunday.
Yes,
Tea time race for us as well.
it is.
Which
yeah,
is nice.
Yes. Better organise getting some food in for that.
that's not a bad shout.
What is next? It's shunting time, isn't it?
It is.
Right, I have a load of shunts here. What I have been sent, because I told people to send some in to me, just
In case of Lee's absence.
in case Lee's not around. And let's have a look.
Literally picking at random.
Where's the one that
You've already chosen one.
I have already chosen one.
I believe there was a short list of two.
There was a short list of two, but I'm going with this one. This is either our first shunt from two people, or this is from two people that share an email address. This, according to Google, this is from Paul and Leslie Carter.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Paul and Leslie.
Although he's just signed it Paul, so they obviously do
Share an email address.
Yeah. Where they're from in the part of the world, they're a bit low on email addresses, so
Thank you, Paul.
they have to distribute them. Right. I was born
Correct way to start.
in 1943.
Okay.
I competed in 96 Grand Prix. And I just want to say, he spelled the plural of Grand Prix exactly right, which nobody ever does.
Amazing.
Grand-
Not
Grand-
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
Grand
Yeah.
Prix
Yep.
is...
I have competed in 96 Grand Prix, which
Good.
is how it's spelled.
Yeah, that's correct.
The racing team which bears my name entered F1 in 1966 and last competed in 1974. And I will need a guess.
Ooh, a racer, a team
So-
that bore somebody's name from 66 to 74.
Which would be about the right amount of time for 100 Grands Prix.
Correct way of saying it.
Yes. I'm conscious that someone's made the effort, so I feel like I need to as well. So yeah, it's not necessarily a racer.
Yeah, the team that bore my name.
So 1943. This was someone. If they're still
It
going,
would have
they
been
would be.
23 and 66.
Yeah. So it probably was someone driving. Maybe.
Maybe as young in the 60s to be a Formula One
How
driver.
How old would this person be now? My maths head is not on. 76.
76.
If I was being completely and utterly impolite, I would say a year younger than my mum, but I'm not going to.
Not coming with the inspiration.
No, me
No.
neither.
It's before.
I was instantly going to say there's someone like Brabham or something like that, but they raced up until the 90s. Cooper, perhaps. I don't know how long Cooper were on the grid for.
Don't know.
Should we say Cooper?
Yeah.
John Cooper?
Okay, you're going to go with that as your first guess.
Yes.
All right, cool. Clue 4. In 1990
It's not right, but it's a guess.
In 1995, I was inducted into my home country's Sports Hall of Fame.
1995.
1995.
Okay.
Clue 5. I started on the front row of a Grand Prix 19 times, 5 of which were in pole position.
Gutted to have qualified second 14 times.
Is it somebody Finnish?
Is it Nick Heidfeld's idol? And clue 6, so I'll need a guess after this one. A fellow countryman and I won the 24 Hours of Le Mans driving a 7-litre V8.
Jesus. That's not the guess, by the way.
Is it Jesus? So yeah, we kind of got to assume that someone who's going to have done stuff outside of F1 as well. Then, if they've managed to get into a Hall of Fame, or come from a very non-motorsportsy country
And won Le Mans.
and won Le Mans.
But it's not a completely non-motorsportsy country because they had a fellow countryman to do Le Mans with.
This is very true. Yes.
7-litre V8. Jensen Interceptors had a 7-litre V8. Could you have done a Le Mans in a Jensen Interceptor?
Oh, I know the classes have changed a bit over the years, but I'm guessing as well this will be going back a bit if there's only 2 of them in a team.
Yeah,
So
that would
you
have been
have to
roughly
have-
the
yeah.
right time as well. Sort of
Yeah.
70s, early 70s.
Back in the day when they were allowed the same tablets that truck drivers aren't allowed.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've got nothing.
Yeah. Should we stick with Cooper since we've...
Yeah. Since we've got absolutely nothing
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Okay. Clue number 7. A quote from a Ferrari technical director about me was, "By far the best test driver I've ever worked with. He had all the qualities to be a world champion, but bad luck just wouldn't let him be." Okay. Insert tumbleweed here.
Yeah.
Clue number 8. I've driven for 13 teams in F1, which is the most by any driver.
Wow.
If only Sean were here.
Then he would have got it
Second
probably
clue.
7
Yeah.
clues
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Clue number 9. In 2003, Murray Walker was my co-driver in a rally.
Good God. Can you imagine that? Murray Walker as a co-driver. That'd be awesome to listen to.
Would he commentate on you driving? That's the thing.
And we're upside down.
I don't believe it. The lights have gone red.
And the last clue, there is a spaffer to add to this as well.
I
But
think we
last clue,
need it.
clue number 10, where a guess will be preferred. A Formula One world champion said about my run of bad luck, if he became an Undertaker, people would stop dying.
Good God.
There must be someone who had famously bad luck in Formula One.
I mean, not so much that they can stop the dead.
There is a spaffer.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
We're going to need it.
I come from the southern hemisphere.
See, Jack Brabham would have been my first guess, but that doesn't tie in with the team.
It doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't tie in with the... It might tie in with the Le Mans 7-litre V8. That might have been some sort of Australian-built thing.
The Holden Struth.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Was Tom Price from the Southern Hemisphere?
Not
No, he was
familiar
Welsh,
with
wasn't
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he from South Wales?
That's not the
Still in
southern
the Northern
hemisphere.
Yeah.
New South Wales.
I'm thinking of Tom Price's terrible accident at the Kyle Army Grand Prix. From the Southern Hemisphere,
Yeah, I
could
mean,
also
you
be
gotta
South
This is
American.
the thing, we could be looking at a South
South
American
African.
or a South
Yeah.
African or a New Zealander.
Yeah.
Or someone from Antarctica.
Yes.
Yes, the Antarctic Motorsport Hall of Fame. Yes.
Also Namibia.
Are we just going to keep naming
Bora Bora.
countries while we stall trying to think of an actual answer?
Madagascar.
Do you have an even spaffier clue?
Will we have heard of this person?
I'll do my own even spaffier.
Oh,
I never won a Grand Prix, but won 8 non-championship races.
so is this someone who was good at Indy?
8 non-championship Formula One
Yeah.
races,
Okay,
to clarify.
doesn't help.
he's actually written that as not an extra spaffer. It's just in the email, and he puts it and he adds, "But that's not the same, is it?"
Carlos Reutemann? No. He will have won races. And he would have been racing a lot later than 74 as
Yeah.
well.
I feel we're probably looking at like a Brazilian, but
Oh, the Champions League streaker.
no, she's Russian.
She's
I think,
Russian,
is she
yeah.
not? Yeah.
You didn't see the photo then.
No, I've seen the photo.
I think we're looking at being beaten, aren't we?
I think so.
Might lose this half point.
Do you give in?
Yes.
Think so.
I am Chris Amon.
Ah.
Nope, still never heard of
Widely
him.
Yeah, I
considered
have
to
heard
be the
of
best
Chris
driver
Amon,
never
yeah,
to win a
yeah.
Grand Prix. That was from, as he signed his email, Paul in New Zealand. If you do use this, it's probably best not to say Paul in New Zealand. That might give them a bit of a head start.
I'm not sure it would have done, Paul. But thank you anyway.
Thank you for that, Paul. If you want to send in your total shunt, there are a couple of ways of doing it. You can send it to Lee on Twitter, direct message at a total shunt. Or if you want to send one through to me for the weeks when Lee isn't here, I'm stockpiling them. Email them to me, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. I can pick them up from there. If you want to get in touch with the rest of us on Twitter, the show is at 3legs4wheels. Everybody else is.
At Sean Cowper.
At Dan Dankleton.
At Flood21.
And at Pablo100. You can also get us on Facebook, facebook.com/3legs4wheels. We're on Instagram as well. And for the next few days, if we get out and about for the TT races, we'll get videos and pictures of the racing up there as well. Just giving a little extra plug for our Patreon show, where from as little as $1 a month, you can basically help keep this show going. It pays for things like the new microphone that we've got tonight and the new cables that we've got that I've managed to stop the cat from chewing already, even though they only just came out of the packet.
Sorry, it's got the box.
Yeah, he's got the box that they came in, so he's happy. So not only are you buying recording hardware, you are buying cat toys. Cardboard cat toys.
I was going to say, don't tell people they're buying cat toys.
Believe me, we have a cat that treats any box as a cat toy.
Yes.
We spend a fortune of our own money on cat toys, but what does he prefer?
Always the box.
Everything that the toys come in. If you go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels, you can sign up there.
Yes, you can.
Formula E, that is still ongoing for another week on the challenge, which is Canada in a Renault in the dry, and you got till next Monday for that. And I think that about does it for this week, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll be live blogging the race Sunday night, and we'll see
Or
you
Sunday daytime,
Oh.
depending on where you are in the
Yeah,
world.
Sunday
depends
daytime,
where you
Sunday,
are in the
yeah,
world.
Sunday evening for
Could
us.
be Monday morning if you're
If
in
you're
New
in
Zealand.
New Zealand,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
like Paul. Good point. We'll be live blogging the race when it goes on, whatever time of the world you're in.
To the time of the world you're in.
We'll be doing it
I've
when
ha-
it's happening.
Yes, I've had a long week. I did an almost 3-hour gig last night. I am shattered. So I think we're calling it a night.
Yes.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Or au revoir.